My name's Josh.
And I'm Lydia.
And we are Pais Burnley. So guys, today is Epiphany, or this week is just like the general week that is called Epiphany in the church, and that is basically celebrating the wise men, which is pretty cool. That's why we sang Three Kings, even though it's after Christmas, crazy. But yeah, so we got a bit of a video about the three kings, about the kings. Have a quick watch of the kings.
We assume that there were three wise men because of the three gifts that were given: gold, incense, and myrrh. However, the Bible does not say that there were only three wise men. There could have been many more. Tradition says that there were three, and that their names were Gaspar, Melchior, and Balthazar. But since the Bible does not say, we have no way of knowing whether the tradition is accurate. It is a common misconception that the wise men visited Jesus at the stable on the night of his birth. In fact, the wise men came days, months, or possibly even years later. That is why Matthew chapter 2, verse 11 says the wise men visited and worshiped Jesus in a house, not at a stable. We know that the Magi were wise men from the east, most likely Persia or modern-day Iran. This means that the wise men traveled 800 to 900 miles to see the Christ child. Most likely, the Magi knew of the writings of the prophet Daniel, who in times past had been the chief of the court seers in Persia. Daniel chapter 9, verses 24 through 27 include a prophecy which gives a timeline for the birth of the Messiah. Also, the Magi may have been aware of the prophecy of Balaam, who was from the town of Pethor on the Euphrates River near Persia, in Numbers chapter 24, verse 17. Balaam's prophecy specifically mentions a star coming out of Jacob. The wise men were guided to look for the King of the Jews by miraculous stellar event, the Star of Bethlehem, which they called his star in Matthew 2, verse 2. They came to Jerusalem and asked concerning the birth of Christ, and they were directed to Bethlehem. They followed God's guidance joyfully. When they arrived in Bethlehem, they gave costly gifts to Jesus and worshipped him. God warned them in a dream against returning to Herod, so in defiance of the king, they left Judah by another route. So, the Magi were men who, 1, read and believed God's word, 2, sought Jesus, 3, recognized the worth of Christ, 4, humbled themselves to worship Jesus, and 5, obeyed God rather than men. They were truly wise men.
So in the following, Josh will interview me about the three wise men. And yeah, just enjoy.
Did you know that there were actually more than three wise men potentially? There were only 3 gifts. Did you know that?
Wow. Yeah? No, I didn't know. Wow, really? No, I didn't know that. I thought it was 3, but it's interesting.
Yeah, because there was only 3 gifts. And the wise men travelled a long way to see Jesus. So what do you think of that sacrifice that they made?
I think it's incredible. Imagine you're traveling a long way to visit someone who you don't know who it is, if that is really true. They believed so much in God that they knew there will be the King of Kings waiting for them. So it's just incredible how their belief and trust was towards God, that they made the whole way and the sacrifice of leaving their families and everything behind them to follow that star and to follow God. Yeah, that's just incredible. I love that idea.
Yeah, so they journeyed far, didn't they, following light.
Yeah.
So a star is light. What do you think about that idea of light and the fact that they followed it and what that means for us today?
I love the idea of light. Especially like in Christmas, I realize how pretty it is that Jesus, the King of Kings, the light, came to that world to set us free, to give us new life, to give us light, and to empower us. So I love the idea of light and the symbol as well, that God enters the world as light. And yeah, it's just amazing how God is the light of this world and how he wanted to fill the darkness with his light in that Christmas season.
And if you were to do a little sound bite of something that you love about this story or something that you want to remember, what would it be?
That is a good question. I think it would be Trust, believe, and follow God with all your heart, and He will guide you, maybe. It's not a soundbite, but I think that would stood the most.
Maybe follow the light.
Yeah, follow the light.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you've learnt more about following the light. We as Christians believe that's so important at this season, and the Epiphany season is fantastic to remind us about the adventure that we have when we follow the light. And we'd love to invite you to our lunch club, which is this Friday.
Yes, so come and join us for a nice message, fun games, and a nice time together. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on Friday.
Bye guys.